Doc.
Hey, Your Excellency, good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening. We are live.
Are we live already?
Yes, sir.
Oh great, oh great, oh great.
Good evening, South Africa. Good evening, Asania, Mzansi, Africa. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to welcome you all that have come through right now, each and every one of you, where you are actually connecting. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me just thank you once more for this opportunity that we have all been granted in order to sit here tonight, especially in this particular important week of enlightenment, where it is important that we come on board and we share. Moreover, we share the word, and we share, moreover, the secret things in order to enlighten you pertaining what is happening, pertaining what is actually happening in our country, pertaining things that are actually happening in our continent. It's much important, and we believe that it is in our best interest that we come and we talk about it. We are going to talk, and our talk is very hot. And tonight I am not alone. I have by my side Dr. Ndlovu, and we'll be talking and breaking and extrapolating matters. We are asking that you all come and fall into this over topic, and so that we can all of us be in line with what is actually happening in the season. Now, let me welcome all South Africans, and let me welcome all Africans as we bless South Africa. And moreover, may the good Lord bless Africa. And it's very much important. We need to understand also that we are Africans. May God bless Africa as He also blesses South Africa in this day. And we are standing moreover in that, and as a commemoration of all the leaders, that we are being granted in our time, and we thank God for that. So I am just, moreover, welcoming each and every one of you. And may we just, as we know and as we will, just to invite us, couple of people that are, meaning in your neighborhood, your friends on Facebook, and also your beloveds, and let them know that we here right now. Let them know that the night has begun. Let them know that it is actually that night where we want to bring knowledge to the people. We are going to break bread. We are going to break bread. Today marks, meaning exactly 7 days before the actual day. And it reminds me when Joshua had to take on taking on Jericho with its fortified walls. It reminds me how, and the instructions that he got. And the instruction was not much intelligent and not much orientated, but I can tell you that was the instruction that comes from whom is the creator, God himself. He said to him, on the first day you will march once, but on the seventh day you're going to march the seventh times. Now you need to understand, we subscribe to biblical canonicity. We subscribe to what the creator has said. As a movement, as a government of Ecoforum, we subscribe moreover on the word that has been spoken. So we are reiterating the spoken word. Now, God said it very swiftly to him. He said, Nako, the time is now. It's about time to take over this fortified, walls of the city, which represented the wealth of Canaan. Now, if Joshua was not able to overcome or also to take over Canaan, he might not be able to take over the mountains of Amorites. But now he had to deal with the fortified walls of Jericho. But now he dealt with it by instruction. Now the instruction was, on the first day, you'll go around once. But on the seventh day, you'll go 7 times. Come on. Wherever you are, connect with your family, connect with your friends, connect with your loved ones. I need you to connect with 10 pastors that you know. Connect with 20 bishops that you know. Connect with 20 presidents of fraternals in your location or the city or in the country. I need us to connect. Let the fire become a torch tonight. Connect to another believer. Connect to bishops. Connect to movements of bishops. Connect to any gathering of believers and brethren. Tell them that tonight it is that night signifying. We begin a night that will signify the perfection in what God has called us to do, but through reiteration and through reformation pertaining the word and the truthfulness of the word. And as we'll be also tapping on the current affairs and moreover on politics in general, so we educate the body of Christ moreover in regard to leadership and governance. As I said, I'm not alone in the studio. I am with Dr. Ndovu, and I tell you, we are gonna actually experience greatness in this day. I am calling forth for each and every one of you now to open up. Let's invite. I want us to invite. These are the things that we need to hear pertaining to what's happening. Yesterday, we dealt with the arrogance we have actually seen being mastered by political leaders, and where in the case of Goliath, you see, Goliath was so big and great. Goliath was gigantic, and like he is moreover equivalent to the laws and the constitutional laws and the rule of law. It is, he was more equivalent to, gigantic traditional parties that we all have grown up to know and be loyal to. Now, the pride that was in Goliath because of his previous victories, and now he went about, strong there, moving around, and now cursing, and even moreover, demising the opponent, or demising David in terms of his stature, saying, now you are little, you are small, how can they give me such he is not a dog. And he spoke many things, like, the same things that Goliath spoke, that brings a demise, that brings a discrimination, that are this, that are moreover, I would say, ngesizulu bathi umuntu uyadelela, kaSesotho bari motho wadela. How when umuntu masakadelela njalo ukuthi hunale a privilege, there's a wide privilege, there is a party privilege, there is a parliamentary sitting privilege, there is a donation privilege, and propagandized in terms of funding that comes and gives people a privilege. Media, meaning that is propagandized in the mainstream. So people are privileged, and they are coming out in numbers and colors, and they are painting the country, and even criminals are doing the same thing, and everybody is perplexed, and there's an amazing grace, and they are astonished, and even believers are, even now the elects are deceived in what the devil is portraying and parading. But now tonight, I believe that we're going to break on certain other things and elements in the next 120 seconds. In 2 minutes, I'll be bringing in Dr. and we all are going to just break it in and speak in the heart, meaning of leadership and governance, and moreover will be more political in understanding the season that we are in. Now, we dealt with the arrogance of a giant Goliath, and then we said now also the emergence of the tiny little David should not at all be a shame to you as the church, should not be a shame to you as the community, should not be a shame or a sham to you as South Africa. We need to learn to appreciate small beginnings, especially when God is beginning. Now, in this time, we need people who can say, here am I. Moses was called, and a word was imposed on him, and he came out and said, here am I. So God is looking for people who will rise their hands and begin to step out from wherever comfort that they are actually in, and come to a place where they stand for the community, stand for the people. These are the times that the true leadership must emerge. It matters not what it takes, even if it takes whatsoever. We here to stand and to proceed. Now, catch us tomorrow night. I'll be dealing with vaccine, and moreover the truthfulness and the prophecy that was released pertaining the current President Ramaphosa, and many other things and testimonies that you need to hear. You can't miss it. Why is it important for us to be part of this elections? Why is it that important? Thank you so much. Now, in a while, as I am bringing forth my guest in the studio, I'm going to bring forth my guest in the studio, Dr. Ndlovu. We would be breaking bread on matters of importance. Dr. Ndlovu, the president of Ecoforum in Zambia.
Thank you.
I see some beauty there. I see some
Yes,
beauty
yes.
where you are here. You look so beautiful.
Oh, yes.
You look so beautiful and so uniform, so much in order, a man of order, leader that understands how to presume and moreover execute governance. And when I met you, I knew that Zambia is saved. And moreover, I knew that Africa, and especially in your own interpretation, who Africa is, I knew that we are safe. And I thanked God because I knew that we are not going to always ask or go borrow from the times of Lubumba and times of, you see, we're not gonna go back borrow from our forebears, the leadership that we were given in Africa, and we are not gonna borrow and come to Doha, meaning Luther King, and try to borrow some words. And when I saw God raising a leader of your caliber in our midst, I knew that we are safe. That's my actually now reception tonight. And thank you so much, Dr. Jididia, meaning Ndovu. Thank you so much for coming on board. And may God bless you. And may God bless South Africa tonight for your presence.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you, Excellency. I'm honored. I'm really honored. I'm really honored, and I would like just to encourage the viewers to stay tuned, because there are imperative issues that we need to deal with regarding the forthcoming elections, as well as leadership and governance. So, Your Excellency, I would like to say thank you very much for according me this opportunity, because it's time we began to speak into things. For a long time, politicians have had a wrong perception that they have to speak to us about things. Until we develop what it takes to speak into things, we will not be able to get relevant people into office. So this is what we are doing right now. We have few days remaining before the elections. So we need to speak into things, as in opposed to hearing what everybody is promising. That is why I am so grateful that Ecoforum is not like any other political party. This is a movement. It's a movement that desires to speak into issues and gives people a voice to speak into issues of governance, into issues of leadership, into issues of development. So I would like to ask everybody to stay tuned, even as we are here on the platform tonight. It's very, very important, as the President, His Excellency, has already alluded to the fact that it's about time we began to do things in a rightful way. So thank you so very much, Your Excellency. I hope you are still there, or should I continue? And yes, so thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of things that we need to discuss tonight. And yeah, I'm so grateful that we are here tonight. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate for this invitation. And we are going to deal with things as we are expected to tonight. Are you still there, Your Excellency? All right. Hello, are you still there? All right, okay.
To continue, you are highly welcome to continue talk. As
okay,
I said, that nothing will ever stop us. We use all the guys in the world that even if we are facing, moreover, I would say, even if we can face any other, we will continue with all the gadgets. Do not stop. Just continue sharing, because we are in a load shedding, which is one of the signs of the amiss in regard to the improperity and moreover the lack of leadership and administration in our country. So it is that it is, and let's continue. Don't stop where you are. Just keep on speaking and speak your heart and continue. We will deal with all the things. Thank you so much, Doc, and you're welcome, sir.
Thank you so very much. So I would like to first of all begin by saying that everything rises and falls on leadership. That's what they say. Everything in life rises and falls on leadership. And we must realize that this is not about political parties. This is about the provision of leadership, because we do not suffer from economic problems. We suffer from leadership crisis throughout the continent. In this country, South Africa, there is a leadership crisis. So the movement, Ecoforum movement, is here to provide a credible leadership to the need that people have had for a very long time. So I want to start off from there by saying that there's a lot of misplacement, there's a lot of miscommunication when it comes to the forthcoming municipality elections, because people think it's about political parties, it's about campaigns, it's about who is speaking the loudest, it's about who is being sponsored the most. You need to understand that this is about the cry for leadership. It's about the need for leadership. It's about us understanding why leadership is so critical to changing the way we live, to changing the way we see things, to changing how we approach life in general. This is why the campaigns that everybody is doing is exposing their agendas, because right now you are able to see through who certain people are, because there is a word that they're exposing their agendas. I'll give you an example of some of the incompetent people that are exposing their sponsored diabolic agendas by certain right wings. And so they have told them they must go for this election. They must do everything. And if you look at their adverts, you would wonder where they are getting the money from. They are not even political parties. They are an organization. You can tell because they do not have a vision. They have an agenda. And this agenda must be perpetuated in order for them to fulfill their mission of divide and rule. So this is there. So you need to see through people right now. So there are particular individuals, whose names are more pronounced than the organization they are even representing. And they are out there campaigning, and their adverts are on TV, they are in the printed media, and they are all over, and you are wondering, when did they have the time to acquire the money? You already see somebody is behind their agenda. If you ask them about the vision for Tswane that they have no vision. And where there's no vision, people perish. So why would we place somebody into power that is clueless about the entire region that they want to have a leadership responsibility over? We need to learn from the past, because we've had people that were sponsored into political office and then they could not deliver on their promises. Why? Because they had an agenda, but they didn't have a vision. We've got to go with people with a vision, and in most given cases, people with a vision are in the minority. People with a vision do not usually have the provision, because what they have is simply the vision. It's up to you, the people that are seeing those that are on various platforms, to determine whether they carry the ability to govern people. Because listen, before I can even go on, I would like just to bring this to your attention. Kina, it's about time. It's about time that we saw through people. That's my first important point that I want you to understand. If you cannot see through people, you will go by their agendas, and an agenda is not big enough to sustain somebody in a political office. It is not credible enough to get somebody to deliver on their promises, because an agenda is always selfish. So they have political agendas, and in most given cases, these political agendas are camouflaged. These are things that are actually sugar-coated, because the real agenda behind the agendas that they are presenting to you is diabolic in nature. And it's a matter of time. The chaos that they want to unleash will begin to come about. So you have to be very careful. And as His Excellency the President already alluded to, the man called David in the Bible. You look at David. David was a clean boy. He was in the bush when everybody else was busy on various platforms, and they were campaigning, and they understood political, military strategies, and so on and so forth, but they did not have what it took to bring down a Goliath. And this is why we want to tell you as Ecoforum tonight that we may be coming from a place of being voiceless, from a place of not having as much as you think, but where we have been, there are tools that we have developed, such as would be needed, to drive, rather to fulfill the vision for the regions where campaigns are being held and where elections will be held. So before I let Your Excellency come in with some questions and whatever that you would want me to really talk about, may I talk about governance and leadership? Most people do not even understand what governance and leadership is. Just because a person is articulate doesn't mean they have what it takes to govern. Just because a person has been in office for a long time doesn't mean they have been a leader. You need to understand this. That's why there's been a leadership crisis, because we have placed economic managers into office. And I'm not mentioning names, but you can conclude by yourselves. For example, if I've been doing very well in business, it doesn't mean I can do very well in leadership. I may be what they may refer to as an economic manager. So now if you get me, you place me in an office where I need to lead, I will not be able to devise any changes. Instead, I will just be maintaining what I found in that office. You know why? Because I'm a manager. We need leadership. We need creative minds. We need people that will bring a difference to the way we are governed. And those are leaders of vision, not leaders of agendas, because an agenda is always got personal interest to it. But a vision is for saving people. We need servanthood leadership in these offices. The reason why those agendas are sponsored, because very few sponsor a vision. You know why? Because everybody wants to eat from the agenda, not from a vision. So most people that we vote for and we put into positions of power and influence don't have what it takes. Ask them about the vision for Tswane. Ask them about the vision for South Africa. Ask them about the vision for Africa. All they are going to tell you is what they think must be avoided, but they'll never tell you what must be designed in order to fulfill something that is bigger than all of us. And it is called a national vision. It is called a city vision. It is called a regional vision. It is bigger than any name that you may mention. So, Your Excellency, I felt it important to lay that foundation before we even get deeper into this discussion, because there's a lot of ignorance out there, and because something is in the media, there is a way that we buy into it as a gospel truth. We need to understand how to get back to the basics and understand certain principles, certain processes, certain things that are very important. And as it is right now, we need leadership. As it is right now, we don't need organizations that have popped up specifically to win the election so they can perpetuate their demonic, diabolic agendas. We need people that have a vision, people that will deliver on the premise of the vision of the nation. This is very, very important. And before the president comes back, may I also mention the fact that leadership builds up. You cannot just pop up from nowhere and begin claiming you are a leader. On whose shoulders are you standing? Because this is very important. We begin to have people that are coming about as leaders that will not even have a traceable background of leadership. What they have is nothing but just a desire to occupy political offices and be able to make reference to an opportunity they had before, which they could not even save to the end. So we need to be very careful when we talk about leadership, when we talk about governance, because this is what must be foundational and critical to our campaigns, even at such a time as this. God has given us wisdom. God has given us what it takes. We need to learn to discern through people. We need to learn to discern through agendas that people present to us, because at the end of the day, we will be held accountable for putting into office leadership that is incompetent, leadership that is clueless, leadership that is visionless, leadership that came into power because it had what it took to present itself like credible leadership, yet it was vague and it was fake. We need people that have a vision. The other thing that we're gonna talk about, even as we are talking about Nako, it is about time. We need to understand that these elections are not about who wins the day. It's about who, at the end of the day, wins the hearts of people, because he is bringing to this election what is going to be sustainable, something that is going to change the way people have been living. We need plans. This is why Ecoforum, I'm so grateful that I'm part of the Ecoforum, because it has the action plan. You need a 20-year plan. You need a 30-year plan. You don't just pop up with a particular agenda and you think, how are you going to govern around an agenda of beginning to speak against a particular grouping of people? The question is, what are you designing? What are you developing? What are you creating? May I also just reveal something, Your Excellency? Do you know that there are so many individuals that have gone to get illegit monies that is not legit, to try and put it in the campaign in order for them to win the day, and at the end of the day be able to sell out people? And we don't do that in any given election. We need to be careful. We need to be discerning. We need to have an understanding of where we are being taken and never be driven anyhow, because people without a sense of direction will always end up in a ditch. So it's very important that we understand that. I'm waiting for the president, but before he comes, he mentioned about David and Goliath, and I wanted to get over to there. You need to look at David. David did not see how insignificant he looked in the eyes of Goliath. Neither did he consider how his own people looked at him. David had a mindset of himself. He understood where he had been. He understood what tools he had developed in order for him to bring about a change to the way things were going on. And this is what we need. We need people that are not going to feel inferior to the systems such as are presented before us. We need people that are not going to feel intimidated by those that supposedly have been around longer than us. We need not to fear. We need to go to this election with hope and that optimism, where we know that at the end of the day, we are not into this to win the day. We are into this to change things. We are into this to win hearts. We are into this to present a workable plan. We have a 20-year plan and we're going to carry it out. So this is very important. And also remember that we have a kingdom vision that has been communicated. So we are not going into this because of personal interest. We are going into this because we are kingdom-oriented people. Our mindsets are different from the people that are going into it with individualized agendas. We have a kingdom mindset. Let me talk about the mindset. It's very important. Our job, you and I right now, not just during these elections, but in the times to come, is to begin working on people's mindsets, because those that we call our leaders, both in South Africa and on the continent of Africa, have misled us, because they have contributed to the cultivation of a mindset of dependency on others. And this is why it's even very possible to get money and bribe people that are supposed to vote for you into power because you have a vision, because you understand the vision and you have what to offer. They are waiting for you to bribe them, and there's a lot of bribing that is going on. So how are you going to put somebody into power because he has bribed you with a car? I'm sorry, but you are going to speak for somebody because he has bribed you with a car. He has bribed you with 100 rand, and then you say, I will vote for them. Vote for vision. Vote for people that are speaking vision, not people that are promoting hidden agendas. Thank you, Your Excellency. I may have to get some questions and may have to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Doc. You spoke mouthful as I said that we're going to fight this Babylonian system and make sure that we are all in line, and whether we break and forth and come on, we definitely are going to stand on, because we need to soldier on. I've heard you a bit as you were speaking, which I believe that those are the words that South Africa and Africa needs to hear, and that we cannot keep on maintaining management in regard to our municipals, and moreover even the nation itself, because once you don't have a management in terms of administration, you are likely to sail into an ungovernable state. Hence we are moreover, I would say today we are classed, our classification is barbaric, it's banana. So
Yes.
we always are given a name, whether banana in regards to the lawlessness, barbaric in terms of the mafiaism and the communistic approach that has been taken, and which people don't see, and they think these people care for us. Now I want to be frank and moreover put it out there, so that now, as you spoke in terms of servanthood, but now I want now the people to understand and know where we are in terms of politics. 100 years ago, in the 1900s, Africans were more liberal and more national, and looking at, standing for their own, and, pushing an agenda that says, let us deliver Africans from the external force and powers and so forth. But now in their endeavor, or moreover to do thus, they actually now found themselves, because one of the things that you mentioned in terms of who finances the movement,
Yes.
where does the donorship come from? Now, what killed the major movements in Africa and leaders was the funds, and which is what I want to put out there, especially when we speak into the body of Christ, was the funding. When I did my research and to find out what killed the ANC and how it came about to be who they are, instead of being liberal, national, and in terms of their geopolitics, is that they were looking for an external help. And now when you look for an external help, and you have a heart for the people, then the external hand comes with gifts, and now those gifts are written names. Like you said, you are given a car, you are given a house, you are given money, but your narrative will change. Hence,
Yes.
You see, we have lost so many political figures who were supposed not to play the political football, but to be moreover frank and stand for the people and fight for their own, but they could not. They entered what we call a debt diplomacy, and we're still paying for that debt. We still are paying for the debt, meaning that was actually caused by our leadership when they were seeking for help. So that is one of the spaces that I need also the body of Christ to realize. It is a dangerous actually position for every political leader. Now, as myself coming as a Joseph and as a political leader in a kingdom, I got to experience such. Just to be put it on record, I was tried in many things. Tried in finances and being thrown millions, and I denied millions. Why? Because now I don't want to take money that I actually know that it is bloody, And moreover, it will take away the narrative that I carry, which is the narrative of the kingdom. So now, then I had to actually deny, and even though at times you lose leadership, that some of them are only here politically, and they are looking for a career, moreover for upliftment, to be in parliament, for parliament sitting, their syndrome for fame and popularism. But they don't know that my heart was more into making sure that we build an altar and we become a capstone that will speak, legislatively on behalf of the people, but moreover on behalf of the body of Christ. Now,
that's right.
because you are an entrant movement that comes through and people don't know nothing about you, but they know you as the apostle, and they can't even align an apostle as a governor, and hence now, if they cannot do so, they make revelation to be demised towards in line with revolution and evolution. So they never knew that this figure, this man who is apostolic, who is a governor, and now the president of a kingdom building political movement, is carrying grace in the end time, in the last day, to actually begin to now decipher and release revelation to supersede revolution and evolution. So now I found myself moreover in the wilderness most oftentimes as a voice in the wilderness, because now even the people that I trusted that they will hold hands with us and they will understand and begin to take the torch and the fire and burn every city and burn every location and locality until the whole country and Africa is burned. They were the ones who were actually demising, criticizing. And what are they looking at? They're looking at, meaning moreover the size of the movement. They are more fascinated on the megalomaniac, and they are more fascinated, as we said, on popularism. Who speaks how and what. And when you come out to be more, I say to them that this people say Malema speak, and what they don't speak, they can't speak more than us. And unfortunately, they don't know. It is only that they've given this young man and this man an opportunity to speak until their ear gates are tuned up to that frequency of nonsensical speech and lies and control and dictatorship and all of those communistic approach, socialistic. So they are caught up to the voice. So now, why I am talking cocktail, I want to drop something because I know, because of time, I need people to understand where we are coming from and where we're going. Now, then I realized that this is a call for Moses. It's a call for Moses, and Aaron will come. It's a call for a heart. It is a call when God said to me, go to the parliament and begin to present unto me an altar that will absolutely communicate canonicity and bring the understanding of biblical principles in politics, reformation, all the reforms that are needed sectorally, departmentally, legislatively, and jurisdiction, all the judiciary and the jurisdiction that were needed, which are spiritual. And now to impose them so that we can begin to reform and that's why we are dealing with the modalities of reformation, restitution, and reiteration. The three things are merging the government of Ecoforum. We come in with reformation for the reforms. The number one reform is the reform of the soul. We are saying South Africa back to God. Now, one thing that people need to know, South Africa and Africa does not need great policies. They need to go back to their creator. If we can redirect our people back to the maker, you would see even the things that we are crying about, crime and corruption, and they would absolutely be dealt with accordingly. Now, the reason why we're going through what you're going through now is because we have sailed, the leadership have actually chosen secular. They have actually now took out God from their governments and from their meaning operation and so forth. So I am bringing that out to say reformation must begin in the soul of a nation. South Africa is an Nkosi Sikelele nation that requires to know that these are the times of Wosamoya Wosamoya, where we go back to God. No, we don't look at whether we thought the constitution was great. The same constitution, which is the rule of law, that actually now is being bended by presidents, by ministers, by 3 political parties today who have conformed themselves to become a country. And now they are deceiving the people through the same constitution that will be bound. The same constitution will not be active, and every liberty that was actually what these people have in store right now. So now, to be frank, is that you see every liberty and every I would say and every freedom that was retained or attained prior on in 1994 would absolutely be diminished to now and void because of the agenda that is already ahead. So because of the agenda, we now know that now there's going to be great change. There's going to be moreover a tremendous change that will affect humanity. So there is a propaganda already that is actually now taken over. It has taken over every entity on the surface of the earth, from within your government to your pharmaceutical to the leadership. And now most of these other parties that you see them sailing and throwing t-shirts and color and so forth, they are running a certain narrative and they are being sponsored externally.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
they are actually running a propaganda. It is an
Yes.
agenda,
Yes.
but it's a propaganda already, because it is moreover that which now would tomorrow make our people cry, and they're going to cry
Yes.
foul, but they are the ones who are voting for these people.
Yes,
They are
that's
the
right.
ones
Yeah.
who are actually now putting an X on behalf of these people. So now I am
Yes.
putting this out, Doc, just for an understanding of where we are coming from. Prophetically, if we can match it prophetically, we'll understand that the time is now. We are in the last day. No more the end time.
Yes.
We are already in the end time, but we are now in the last day. Hence, these elections are not about political parties. These elections are about God and humanity, and it's either what the enemy has in plan or in store or in the pipeline. And I don't think that the church is ready for what the devil is about to do. So now I'm just going to put it frank so that it makes great sense. So hence now, the government of Ecoforum comes moreover as a vehicle, becoming as a platform. There's going to be a day and a time where the church will be praying, and the church will be moreover seeking for their own Daniels and their own, meaning Esther's and their own Josephs and now they will be moreover. They will be in a predicament that said they need their own leadership while they have left them behind, especially in such time as this. Because remember, campaigns and electioneering are tempting to many leaders. Now, what we have taken as a stance as the government of Ecoforum, we are not going to allow any money that comes externally which actually want to change and transform our narrative. Our narrative is simple, it's the kingdom. And we actually, people think when you're coming into politics, you want to be corrupt or you are coming here for money. So we want to rectify that. Actually, politics is taking more of our money.
Yes.
Politics is taking more of our money. We have got nothing from politics. So now building a political movement takes more of your monies than actually you can be receiving from the politics or spectrum of politics. So now our people must get it in their hearts to understand that to build anything, it takes something. It even requires life. That's why even the Nelson Mandelas of this world have uttered that even if it takes death, they were ready. So we have died already with Christ. We are dead with Christ. So when you talk about us, you're talking about soldiers that have died with him in baptism. He rose by faith. Now that's why this thing, God will not call you because you've got $1 billion. We were not called because we had $1 million. We were called because we were graced with the leadership required. And moreover, as you spoke something very powerful, we were graced with the newnessness, the fresh insight in terms of the ideology that comes, that is cut as a white paper from biblical patterns.
Amen. That's right.
You know, because
that's right.
If you want to redirect a country to its economic maximum potential, you need to understand we've got governors who did it before us. Now, and the intention of one of the governors by the name Joseph, now his intention was to, moreover, not to run with an economy or a macro economy. He was a man who had the excellence towards the local government economy, election or economy, because he actually intended them to have their own, I would say, economy or household economy or personal economy. So now where Ecoforum is deriving its talk, now Joseph says to them, as he gives an analogy, moreover, of a resolution that it is of the dream that was dreamt by the king. He said, no, 5% shall be put aside. And he said, now put it aside for the 7 years that is coming of famine. Now look at what he said. Now the seeds that were to be taken and be planted in each and every one's land or home or houses. So now he had a local government kind of a mapping. And he knew that if he can empower them personally, if he can empower their household economically, then he would have developed them. And in order as he has developed the community, and moreover, then the economic development will therefore become a result.
Yes.
So the government of Ecoforum runs with four. Yeah, it runs with 4 developmental pillars that I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
Which the number 1 developmental pillar is human development.
Human development.
Human development. Because we are saying you can't talk budgetary of trillions in the absence of the real government, whom are the people, the local men and women.
Yes.
Now, if you want to begin to now make sure you are building a sustainable economy, we need to be godly about it. I tell you, there's no policy, no party that will be able to master that except the sons of glory. And whether they like it or not, except the sons of glory, because this is revelation, is greater than revolution, it's greater than evolution.
Yes.
Now, here comes the revelation of our first pillar. Human development, we speak skills development. One of the mistakes that were done by the ANC when they came into power is that they actually dismantle one of the working, I would say, one of the working economies in the country. And also they made an assurance that if you dismantle manufacturing and you actually source it from outside through an alliance or through a communistic covenant entered with China, that to it has stolen thousands of jobs in our country. Not only in South Africa, but in Africa in general. And what caused it was debt diplomacy, as I said to you. Debt diplomacy that was entered between the two countries, binational. It has actually perpetuated a covenant or a relationship that is unhealthy, that takes away from its people in regard to meaning the GDP, how our manufacture is actually now underwent, how the production of this nation is underwent. Our people are no longer part of the production. So now they were taken out of the factories, out of the manufacturing factories, and all of those hubs were closed all over the country. Yes, you can name them. You've got Babelechi, you've got Roslyn, you've got Timbaza in Eastern Cape. You've got so many of them. You've got Encangastria in Mpumalanga. And all of those economic hubs, which were local, were scrapped by the ANC.
Exactly.
And nobody said anything about it. Now, then we lost our stance and power in regard to the economy, township economy and rural economy. Then many of our parents lost their jobs. You know why? Because these are people of skill. They can use their hands. They might not have documentation. They might not be classified under the academia, but they are skillful in how they were trained in the apartheid system. And they knew how to actually sew a sock, a tracksuit, jerseys for school, uniforms for police, all of those things. They knew how to overlock, they knew how to use the machinery and all of that. But now they were then put aside. And yes, it's okay to try to embrace the fourth industrial revolution, but who said they could not actually now also be part of it? I mean, there have been machinery then, even to date, that they actually were using there from the same machinery. They've used the first machinery, which were manual, until they used the automated ones. And they were taught and they were brought into some training of to use those machinery. So now the fourth industrial doesn't begin today, hence it's fourth. So now it's been there. So now when you discard the people of South Africa from that, you are taking bread from their mouth, you are quenching the smoke in their right in their very townships. And now you go around talking as if you're going to give them jobs, you are going to create jobs. You have killed job employability. That was job employability, not even job creation. That was job employability because these people were qualified even though they had no documents. So now the government of Ecoforum, we want to reform that actual sector. And how to do it? We want to do what we call human development, upskill them, give them documents. We are partnering today, as I'm talking to you, with we are partnering with the university, and we are partnering with a couple of colleges that are come on board, and we would be moreover running programs where people will be developed by trainers, facilitators, assessed and moderated, given us the certificate, whether of plumbing, and then we go up and we reskill them so that we can teach them how things are done properly and professionally.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so that
Exactly.
is what we're going to offer, and that's what we are working on right now to make sure
Mm,
that we reinstate the economy of the township, and not only by talking about youth, also by actually embracing our elderly people so that we can bring them back again to the economy. Because you can't
yes.
kill them and put them in a dustbin and talk about young blood. You need to embrace them. They are the same people who have built the same union building. The union building of South Africa and other departments were built by these elderly people that today we cannot abound. So the government of
Exactly.
Ecoforum want to now outline that and
Mm,
make sure that practically it's done. Now, just in
exactly.
short, in closure, community development.
Yes.
You can't build a
Mm,
community until you build a person of the community. So we build a
mm,
person, we equip them, we educate them, we train them. We give them necessary certification. That is possible. That's what we are doing. That's who we are. As a
mm.
moderator myself, that's what I know. That is doable,
Yes.
and we are doing it, and we are going to do it in every location.
Exactly.
Whether you are in
Exactly.
Soweto, whether you are in Kalisha, whether you are in Swani, we are going to now upskill and reskill our people. Number two,
Mm,
community development. Now,
mm.
we've got divine. I mean, our communities cannot. You see, remember one thing: the only unity you'll ever find is in Christ,
Mhm.
because his bones were not broken. Now he's the only king whom and
Yes.
governor whom his bones were not broken. So we are not susceptible to division. We will never be
Yes.
divided. So is the
Yes.
church. The church will not be divided at any day because he's not
Mm,
divided. So we are coming to the community to make sure that we develop the community in this form. Now
mm,
we will be building what we call community trusts. Now we have started that, and we are doing it now in Swani. Now let me talk about it as a project now on hand. We're doing that in Swani. We started in Swani because we wanted to run a pilot, so that when we pilot the project, then it can actually now be taken to other provinces, and we're doing it very well. How to do it? You actually appoint 12 people that will run that project in terms of community trust, and they are beside the political office. They
mm.
are directively coming in as leadership in order to now become stewards, as you spoke, stewards and servants that will be serving their communities in regard whether the need of the community, the development, the infrastructure, and so forth. Now, the trust will be moreover for monies that comes in, so that monies are not. We actually stand to actually now put them in accountability, but they
Mm,
are responsible for what? For projection of the very community where they are actually appointed. Now,
mm,
that community development will move with community economic development, community sustainable economic development, and then the trust will be used for such, and to a point that now in that very community, if I can put it frank with you, any family that has a trust and they've got money, I don't care how much you hate your father. Sometimes you even get to love them because you know that
yeah.
in this house, there's a trust.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Imagine
mhm.
if it's a community and people know
Yes.
that there's a community Ward 74 that has 12
Wow.
million rand, and you
Yes.
are you are staying in that community. It doesn't matter whether you are from the ANC or wherever. If
Mm.
there's a 12 million, you're gonna go there and start talking about
Exactly.
accountability, about
Mm,
how you want them to be accountable, and how you want to actually now see many financials and so forth. So why? Because there's money involved. So the problem with our communities, there's no money involved. They are moreover liable to this government. That's why they seduce them with 350. They put them to a step. They just confuse them with a little, and so that they can depend on them and so forth, and vote for them and so forth, and now take away their abilities and capabilities. So when we develop the community, that will be a restoration of the capability of that particular community. Now, two things at last is that then we fought, which is meaning. Moreover, one of the things which are important is that now we also want to deal with social development, not only in terms of gender based. No, we don't want to run externally with what the world is doing and what they. You see, we want to deal with that. How do you do it? In our communities, we no longer have sports. We don't have the Zola bars. We don't have the Zola bars of Africa. We no longer have sports. There's no longer the grounds are no more. The netball courts are no more grounds. The tennis and table, all those things are not there. And you cannot raise children like that. That's why our children are focused on social media and so forth until they are actually being also abused on the same. So we cannot afford to have a community that is controlled by people from the West because of the social media, and now whereby they no longer have power over their lives in this country. So what we need to do in Africa and South Africa, particularly as we're speaking about the elections, now we need to go back, and social development speaks of many things. It speaks of art and culture. It speaks of sports and recreation. It speaks of so many things, so that you don't talk about gender-based, but you are doing something for that young man to learn on how to respect the other young lady. That's what we should do. We need to keep them as active and moreover as busy as we can. Let them go back to the courts, to the sports grounds and so forth, because we have professionalized sports that it actually moved away from locality, from what we call immature kind of sports, and we are now professionalized. And how many children are taken on professional sport or professional soccer teams? Few of them. Only few of them. So that in this way, it's very much important for us to understand that when we build our community socially, the government of Ecoforum is working on that. We have started right here, right now. We are having coaches that are doing that. We have started teams right now. I also have started a team in this country that is about to run all over, which will scout the young men for soccer and other. So now we're doing it literally, and that's what we are doing, so that our social milieu is actually being calculated correctly. Now, let me align it moreover to finish into the last one, which is economic development. As I said, that when you build the economy, you can't build it on micro. You need to build it on a household level. Remember, the people that are the local men and women, they need bread. They don't need figures. They don't eat trillions. They don't even steal the 500 billion that was stolen by the fellow politicians. They can't. They need bread for their children. So their situation is a daily bread. No, not that the rent has fallen, the rent has picked up. It does nothing to them. So what you need to deal with economically as a kingdom economist, I'll bring it to you. You need a household economy. We call it the new economy. And the only way to derive a new economy and its white paper, it's biblical. The one man I gave you is Joseph, who was building what he called a household economy. And he said to them, take off the seats and go build in your houses. That's what we are doing. The government of Ecoforum is doing that. We're doing what we call one family, one garden. And we have started doing it right now. We have given to many families, and we are going to give to thousands of families seeds, vegetable seeds, so that they can have 6 or to 8 kinds of vegetables in their own yards. And let me tell you something: if you have your starch in your yard and you have your cabbage, and you've got over everything. If there's no meat, then it's okay. You've got your beans and soya bean, and it's okay if I don't have meat. I can drink my bean and eat it, and have my cabbage fried a little bit, and have my onions fried so that it feels like it's meat, and it scents like it's meat. Now we can have those things in our confinements, in the confinements of our homes. Why? So we're restoring family agriculture, and the restoration of family agriculture muchly does, I would say, and put it frank to you, it does work, meaning well, because it actually brings, after all, it will bring a transition to commercial farming. Now, many might not understand the transition to commercial farming, because that's what we want to see happening. We want to see our people growing from just growing their own food, and to the place where they are able to sell the food. So we're going to make sure that every mall that is in the location serves the people of the location. Nobody will bring food. Now, for the first time, you will see streets being closed. It's fine. We'll do a peaceful march. You know the peaceful march? We are not going to allow food coming from outside while there are farmers in that vicinity. We'll make sure that Pick and Pay, they take from our people, and they take from the communities, and they support them in terms of commercial agriculture, and money circulates in the community, so that you are muchly likely to have a capital contribution in that very community that will assist the needs of the community. That's very much important. That's practical. So the government of Ecoforum will be dealing with us. Now, people at times, when you come and say SA back to God, they think maybe you're talking God, and we are clueless here. No, we're not clueless. We're professional. But now we can't be even more over professional than God. Hence, we say SA back to God. Now, let me take this front end so that I close it down in this way. If I am able to can work on this, and in a while I will bring again Dr. Jedidia and Govu to come, and as we will be moving along in the next 15 minutes before we close at 30:30, I need you to be attentive also to the next things that we are talking about. Now, before I bring in Dr. Ngovu, I also wanted to outline what I've just spoke about is campaign development, which we can do. Now, yesterday I bashed one of the leaders in this country that is so much the arrogance of what you saw happening in the country, and however the three big parties that have become a government, and the others matters not, and that must change. It must change. Hence, tomorrow I have a man that is here to talk about what actually was revealed pertaining our president, and what is really happening pertaining vaccine and mandatories and all of those things. You see, the greatest politics that we should have, let me be honest with you, the greatest politics that must be outspoken, especially now, it's nothing else but the agenda that is here. I know many people don't want to enter there. They think, no, it's okay. Let's leave it to the doctors. It's medical. No. Actually, you'll be shocked that the people who are running front in terms of the front runners are not even our nurses and our doctors. The front runners are the business people. The front runners are, yes. I mean, we know what it is, philanthropists, and the front runners are governments. And no, not doctors, not medical doctors. If medical doctors are the ones fighting against such diabolic and illicit move that has been taken by people that think we don't know. So the greatest rhetoric, if that it is, or conspiracy that we need to actually put on the table now, is the one of vaccine. And tomorrow I want to hear what this man has in the heart, and I can tell you, I think the world will be blown away and South Africa will be blown away. But especially the church, we are inviting bishops to come on board. Invite your bishop tomorrow. Don't miss tomorrow, 7 p.m. It's going to be great. I said to you that now, when Joshua was given a plan to take over the wealth of Canaan, dealing first with Jericho, he was told to go around the first day one time, the second day one. Now on the seventh day you go 7 times. So we are 7 days now in between before the election. So we're going to be prophetic to make sure that 1 million of people, whether there are 10 that hears here, 10 has 10,000 ministers in within you, and you can talk to other people and talk to other people, take the message abroad until everyone heard what God is saying pertaining this coming election. Now quickly there, now which is what we do now and call our doctor on board, is that we are making Tshwane capital again. In simple terms, we are standing out in few things. Number one, as the mayoral candidate of Tshwane. Now we're gonna make up on this one, very important. So Shanguve, Mabopane, Harankua, Hamaskral, Mamelodi, Atresville, Centurion, Le Ashma, Mums, Le Sosha, Wauka, Skrala, all of those, Stingvater, Stingapuka, all of those Surmani, all of those places which I have walked in. I'm standing to say to candidate to make an assurance that a steward has been appointed. Now, for me, I don't mind the colors, but I'm saying I'm sending a message to you and sending a message to leadership to make sure that we send on the message. Everybody in Tshwane. In Tshwane, we don't vote DA. No, we are not going to vote DA. Arrogant. And even the Action SA, unfortunately, that's my homeboy, but I'm so disappointed when one come up with a policy that is against, he's calling them foreign nationals and so forth. But these are brothers. You don't even come from South Africa. How do you know South Africa? Who said you are from South Africa? Your name Mashaba. We can ask you are not. You might not be. No one is from South Africa. So we can't treat our brothers. Yes, we need laws. We need foreign policies, immigration policies. We need just to put ourselves in order. We don't need to have a phobia and sit there and support a Mashaba or someone who's taking, who's dealing away, who's regressing. Regression must be dealt with. And I want to say it very loud. It's very important. Now, hence, there are many colorful posters that are out there. You know that it's paid by someone. And there is an agenda. And that agenda is strictly against the foreign nationals. And now we're not going to allow that. We need order. We need to understand. We need order. Yes, every country needs order. But you put your order through your policies. And you can't put it through inciting xenophobic kind of utterances and behavioral, and everybody supporting that nonsense because people are more visible. Imagine believers want to vote for visibility. You're going to lose heart. We can't go on for that. We need to be practical. We need to be logical, professional, and deal with our policy formation in however we do things, and so we can give respect to our brothers who are in the country, who are building with us in this country. Yes, the element of criminology and criminal ability can be dealt with. That one is period. No one, a criminal doesn't have an ethnicity kind of cut or race and say, no, I'm a black person. Don't arrest me. We arrest you because you're a criminal. That's being a criminal. But we are not going to afford any political party that comes to incite phobias and standing against our brothers. When we needed them, we were found in Lusaka. When we needed them, we were found in Swats. We were found in their trenches, and now we need to respect that. And we can do it right. Now, the government of Ecoforum is running these 4 things, and quickly, number 1, we're running, number 1, restitution in the city of Tshwane. You see, when you are in Tshwane, Tshwane is the ambassadorial altar of all the states that you can name in the whole world. More than 174, if I'm not mistaken, there. All of them are there in Tshwane. Now your US of A, you've got your I said it yesterday, Palestine, you've got your Israel. You can solve the issue of Palestine and Israel in Tswane. You can give them a solution of a two-state right here in Tswane. So Tswane must be a capital. It must be an altar whereby we bring forth such diplomacy. But first, restitution. How do you do it? Now imagine at the gate of the U.S. Embassy, at the front and the garden of the Union building, children are sleeping, elderly people are sleeping there. With the budget we have, imagine people are taking home billions, kicking on billions and kicking in some billions for their children. And now you tell me that it's going to be hard to make sure that we actually suspend any crashing and sleeping on the streets. Now, let me give you this one. The government of Ecoforum in the next 5 years, 2021, I need you to know this. Pick up your cross. Go with the cross until you get to that voting station. Put it on that ballot paper. Just pick up the cross. Every believer, pick up the cross. If it was difficult for you to vote, pick up the cross. It's okay. We need just the cross. If you have actually picked up the cross of Christ, carry it. Take it to the voting station. Put it on the ballot paper. Vote for Ecoforum. Because in the next 5 years, I'm going to suspend any child sleeping. It's going to be crime for children sleeping on the street. It's going to be crime for even toddlers and sucklings and infants being on the streets, asking for money, and it's going to be crime. We're going to clean it up, and we have started doing that, and we are running a program here. We call it City of Tswane Audit. We have dealt with hundreds. Now we've got a list of hundreds of street kids, car parkers. Now let me give it to you now as restitution. Car parkers, vendors and hawkers. What did you do? I said a car parker, protect your car and make sure that your car is protected for the whole day. You come back, you give them 5 rent. Remember, the money you give them changes actually their household economy, changes their personal economy. They go home, those who have homes, those who sleep on the street, they've got something to buy bread or something. So we're going to change that because some of the money, they use it for addiction and so forth. So we are aware of that. But now this is a way to go. Then we get the number. Then when the number is there, now as I'm talking to you now I have approached a couple of banks. Now I believe 2 of them have come. Now the 2 banks that will be working with us to make sure that these people or young men who are working on the streets are aligned with bank accounts, and that will be done by this government. They've got their bank accounts and all that and all that. Remember, some of them cannot have because they don't have IDs. Now we're going to stand in the middle, moreover, like in Home Affairs, and say we will be writing an affidavit on their behalf and let them have, and we'll be managing that in a small scale until it grows, until it's manageable. Now these car parkers they fall under safety and security. Now we can also demand a budget that will go for these car parkers. They come in the morning, they are washed, they got their beeps, they get there on the streets, and they car park and they wash the cars and that kind of a city. Now, Tswane must be capital. That anyone who comes from the Europe and comes anywhere will come in here and they will understand our bylaws in the city, and moreover, in terms of business and investment. Now, when people find such a city where they can leave their cars and leave their keys and go, I mean, I can tell you, anyone will come there and want to bring their money in the city, and Tswane will be the economic hub, and moreover, as the administrational city, it will be the economic hub that will stand for Africa and will restore the rest of Africa through Tswane. Now, I am putting this out to say these are some of the policies that we have put together through restitution. Number 2, just to run because of time, is diplomacy. Diplomacy goes in line, as I said, now to properly put our house in order in terms of policy formation and make sure that we value our brothers from our sister, brothers and sisters who are coming out from within Africa. We need to honor them. If we can honor a Chinese, but you can honor your brother from Congo. When you look at a Chinese, you see money, you see investment, you see, things happening. But when you look at a brother from Nigeria, you see thieves, and you see from Ghana, you see this. And we need to change that mentality so that they know what is it that we are looking for and how do we classify them. Now, how to do so, you deal with the laws and the bylaws and deal with policies. And so now that will be established in Tshwane to make sure that now we are diplomatic in how we are dealing with matters, to make sure that now our foreign policies are being outlined very well, so that we have a young man coming from Congo, from Zambia, who wants to be a doctor. We embrace them. We don't look at them like, oh, you're foreigner. No, we embrace them because they become partakers of the building of our economy. And we condemn any other sort of criminality like we do to the South Africans. But we are not going to allow anyone to be dented in our country, especially also in the city of Tshwane. And we will also take it to Johannesburg. It will be taken to Cape Town until the whole country understands. I mean, if we have received white people, why can't we receive our brothers? We have received white people coming miles away from Germany, from Australia. But today, when your brother comes from Zambia, just right around the corner, Zimbabwe, you're calling them names. No. And you are coming with a campaign against them. No, you must be abolished. And you must be cancelled in Tshwane and also in Johannesburg. I'm calling out for all our brothers from Zambia, Zimbabwe. Let's stand together. Those who can vote. We vote Ecoforum. We're going to make sure that we put down these people who are being financed by mafias, if we can put it that way. Now, let me close here there, because I feel like we've got a lot to talk about. I need to bring forth the dog before he goes, because it's very much important. Now I would be doing this, if possible, I have the dog coming on board just to make sure we closure, because I can see, Doc, we need the whole week on this matter. I'm trying to outline. Yesterday I could not deal with the policy matters of this government, and now so I'm trying to outline them, and I can see time is what I actually need. And if one can give me a minute, and if the 100 people who are watching can give me 100 minutes and say continue, President, we can continue till the morning. But now we know that we need to also rest and give them rest. You see, these are the things that we are dealing with, which I've just outlined, pertaining the Tshwane mayoral candidacy, where we have touched based on what I've just outlined, which the number 3 is justice, which we want a drug-free city, a crime-free city. You will never attain or begin to achieve such if it doesn't entail personal government. You see, personal government will have to go with us going to this young man. Remember, as I am telling you, even when I was at school and university, they was even the people that were with in the class from Mamelodi, they stole cars daily. I tell you the truth, daily. They were stealing cars daily. It was like a hobby here in Pretoria. When you get out of your BMW, it's gone. It's in Mamelodi, it's in Attersville, it's in Soshanguve. Now, I realized that you can't combat crime through Bekikele and stomach in and all of those nonsense that has been attacked. You are not going to do anything. It's a waste of time. You combating through mafia. You can't combat crime in that way. Crime is combated this way. Now, when I saw it on Saturday. I saw it in the past. I've been dealing with the children who are on the streets for some time. When you take a child on the street, they are not children. They are some of them are more even youth. They are elderly and so forth. They are over 35. But when you find them on the street, the one thing they'll tell is that they just want to eat. They don't want much. But moreover, they're treated bad and so forth. And so they are likely will become syndicates of the same crime that you are facing, because they talk to them, you get out of your car, they talk to them, no, we know the lady's wearing this dress, and then when you are gone, your car is gone, because they know when you're coming, when you're not. You see, all of those things they manage you so that the car can be stolen. But now imagine if you can develop them and make sure that this young man is brought back into the system, ID, education, health drained, whether drug abuse and so forth, and they are being dealt with, and they are taken through certain programs, whether you can lose a percentage that goes back and forth and so forth, but if you can be able to tackle a certain percentage and bring them back to the system, so that when they are there as car parkers, they've got their cut from this particular bank, and then after they have, we give them training, and which we are going to do in the following week and other weeks, because these projects are not for electioneering. We actually are amplifying them, but they are actually projects that the government of Ecoforum is ready and is doing them, and we are doing them actually now. We are doing them literally on site as part of our manifesto. So that is what we're talking about. But in governance, I know that you can actually share more over, because in governance, we want to introduce professionalism in the municipality. Our municipalities are being led and moreover by criminals, by people who are ready to take another billion. Sometimes it is moreover of a cadre deployment that causes such, whether people are being arrested, but they know for sure they are doing it for something. That's why when election time comes, they are the ones who are funding elections. The same people who are robbing the municipalities, their monies are the ones who are funding the elections, funding the ads and the president running all over the country and so forth. These people are called. The truth must be spoken. They are called. They say Morena, Imrena, we remote electioning, you know, they say Mrena. They say, my guy, we are in elections right now. So these are business, these are tenderpreneurs that must do or make a decision on what it will be released in terms of finances. So these are true stories. We've got true stories on these matters. So in your own words, as we'll be closing, overall, because I've spoken much even myself, what can you say to the church and also to fellow South Africans, and also even our brothers in the diaspora, those who will be voting on the 1st of November? What would be the message that Doc can give to them in regard to enlighten them on the times that we are living in?
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. I'll be brief, and I really appreciate for this opportunity, and what you have so far covered is imperative. I would like to begin by saying we need to understand the prophetic destiny of South Africa to the entire continent and the world. If Chinese people that are not even Christian understood their prophetic destiny to the entire world, they are the largest populated nation on the surface of the earth. They didn't even have land where to put their people. Forget about other people who are coming from other countries. South Africa still has a lot of land. But because China realized its prophetic destiny, it looked at what should have been a problem as a solution. It began to deploy its people to the most other parts of the world, and they began to set up industry. Right now, do you know how many buses come from the rest parts of Africa to South Africa to come and buy Chinese products? The problem is that we do less research and we talk more than the research that we have done. So there are more Africans that are coming to South Africa to empower Chinese firms and industries, because there is not more industry in South Africa. The only industry that is in Africa is run by white people and Chinese people. So when will South Africa realize its prophetic destiny by beginning building its community-based industry and begin to get some of the young people and deploy them to the most parts of Africa? You are not going to have any foreigners coming to South Africa. If you can take 50 young people from Soshanguve that will be trained on how to set up an industry, and they will be in different parts of Zimbabwe, others are going to be in Mozambique, and they'll be in the rest parts of Africa. What will happen is that South Africa will be playing out its prophetic destiny in God by enhancing the economy of the rest of Africa. Right now, most of Black South Africans have never known any other part of the world except their township where they were born and bred. You have white South Africans that are of the age of 9. They've been exposed to the rest of Africa and have been shown where they should be able to do their investment in the next 5 years. And here comes the same guy. He sponsors you to tell you, fight these guys so that the time you go there to set up industry, these guys will fight you back and they'll see a white person and be able to say, these are the right people that can only set industry where we are. Do you know how many malls are being built by our white people from South Africa into the rest of Africa? And there is no black mall that has been built by any black person from South Africa. Why? Because we have never been exposed to the parts of the world. The world is becoming a global village. So don't let anyone sponsor you into destroying the future security of this country, because right now South Africa is suffering from what we call brain drainage. Do you know how many professional South Africans are going to the UK, to Australia, and so on and so forth? Simply because now they have to go there and be able to find something. Why would we not be able to channel some of these things by realizing the prophetic destiny of this country and begin to develop people, not for them necessarily to stay here for the next 10 years, but for them to be deployed to the rest parts of Africa? Do you know how much is on the continent? Do you know that much of the wealth of this world is on the continent of Africa? Why wouldn't South Africa take advantage? Just there in Zimbabwe, there is gold. There are minerals there. But people are being killed here as zamazamas because they are trying to go and dig some gold somewhere. But why not get those zamazamas, put them in a school for 6 months, send them to some parts of Africa where America has been mining gold illegally. Let the zamazamas go there. They have the professionalism of how to do it illegally. At least later on, they can be legalized because the ANC can hold meetings with the other governments. You know, sometimes we fail to think beyond where we are sitting because we are too full. So it becomes important that we talk about matters as they are relevant right now. You cannot go and shoot people that are there. Why not ask them, how did you gain this skill? How can we tap into this skill and send you guys to the most parts of Africa? Instead, you kill them. These are some of the things. We also now need to look at the domestic policy and the foreign policy of this country. You see, when Zuma took over this country, the problem was that he was more concentrated on the domestic policy. The Thabo Mbeki regime, they were concentrated on the Pan-Africanism. South Africa has never developed a proper foreign policy which would make it possible for this problem of foreigners in this country. Because what would be happening right now, take South Africa to the rest parts of Africa so that you can get the resources that are there. Come and build this nation even the more and get those people to stay out there. What is the policy? What is our foreign policy here? Just the last one, I would like to just also add up to the human development programs that you actually alluded to. We have to understand that people are not being developed. 75% of what drives the economy of any nation is people. But if people are not being developed, but you are telling them about injecting money into the economy, who are going to be the beneficiaries? Because an ordinary person is not being developed. Human development is of essence, and anybody that is campaigning during this time must put human development at the center of their campaigns. This is why we are saying that most of the people that are running with unnecessary agendas must just sit down because they do not have what it takes to get into office and offer what is needed. The question is, where will South Africa be 20 years from now? You know, you must understand that certain things do not just happen by themselves. Why are people flocking to South Africa? Could we use this to the advantage of this country? How many buses come through the borders there to come and buy the products that are not being produced by South Africans? How can South Africa take advantage of this and begin to set up industry, as the president alluded to earlier on, Where is the township economy? When they come, they go to China City. When they come, they go to Dragon City. When they come, you know how much Dragon City makes per day? If I told you that Dragon City makes millions of dollars, not rands, millions of dollars a day. Just those cities they have set there. China City, just there. Those Chinese won't even speak any English. They won't even speak any Zulu. They do not know any Tswana. But they are making billions of dollars when we are busy trying to get legit money and sponsor to say, hey, Baham. Now, you need to sit down and think and say to yourself, what am I doing? Because how is this going to affect our people in the next 10 years? Because these people that are sponsoring you are busy setting up industry outside of this country. And you know how many foreigners are working in those malls, in those shops? Go to any part of Africa, there is a ShopRite. Go to any part of Africa, there is Pick and Pay. Go to any part of Africa, there are malls that are bigger than some of the malls that you find in Johannesburg. And you're saying to yourself, but who is investing in the rest of Africa? By the time the indigenous South Africans will realize the opportunity of going after Africa, another nation would have already taken advantage of the opportunity out there. This is what I wanted to say, so that we begin to think outside of the box. We begin to think like leaders. We stop thinking subjectively. We begin to think objectively. That's why I will vote Ecoforum, because it's the only government that is providing leadership that is thinking, leadership that is applying what we call idealistic design. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Doc. I believe that everybody will agree with me. We would love to have you on a daily basis and eat and source from yourself. And thank you so much for the great work which is done in South Africa and also in Zambia and all over the world. We thank God for your life. You see, that would be my last words. If I had to vote, my days of voting when they had come in 2019, because I didn't have the interest then, like anybody or like other bishops and pastors. Some of them feel like politics, when I mean, people have disassociated from me. They've went afar. It's only now that they're coming back, they realize that they're not in control of their churches anymore. Corona has happened. So there's much of respect now, because now people know that it's no longer as comfortable as it is. And I'm warning the people to say, in February, the chip is coming.
Yes.
And it's a warning. Wait until tomorrow. Don't miss tomorrow. Don't miss tomorrow. I need the whole church to be here. I need the whole South Africa to be here. We're going here. Yeah, and these things are real. I don't want to talk about things like that, but they are real, and we needed the professionals to come and share with you so that you understand, because what I believed is that one of the things that we need to talk about is COVID-19, and we can't shy away from it because it's becoming real now. Yeah, it's no longer a theory or conspiracy or some sort, as it was spoken forth earlier. Now things are becoming real. So yes. Tomorrow we are dealing with that. Yeah, just in closure, I would choose to vote. I voted Ecoforum in 2019, and we obtained 0.04%. One would say, oh, they are not like ANC, because you never voted for Ecoforum. You see, I'll put it frank that the politics are, it is a spectrum that deals with numbers. So it's not just going to take us in prayer or hoping, being faithful. It will take your vote. Your vote. You going back, telling the church of God. Let me be honest with you. When you vote for ANC, you're voting for abortion. You know, I want to put it out there. People don't know. And try to come back if I can. Now I see that I'm back. It is well. Now I was saying, when you vote the ANC, you are voting for abortion. It doesn't matter you are a bishop, you are what, you are voting that. That's why the clause that was used for abortion for a 12-year-old to can abort without your consent as a parent, it's now again used against you for vaccine, so that your child can go and vaccinate without your consent. So if you don't understand that we are fighting the written word, remember the fight between Jesus and the devil was the written word. It is written, it is written, it is written. So our fight is just on a mountaintop. It might not be in the church, and you might be comfortable in the church, but our fight is on the mountaintop. We are being announced by God. Now the enemy is bringing that deception. So I need you to understand, you will not live only by bread. Don't be worried when I might not go into some shops. I might not go and have breakfast. People are worried about nonsensical. No, don't worry about that. You need to be worried about the written word. This is practical. One of the years, in 50, 70 years, you'll be reminded of this era. I'm not willing to diminish and compromise. I tell you, I told from the president to anybody will hear me as I talk. There's no day where you'll find me being compromised. Whether with a billion, with a trillion, will never be compromised. Never. Because if I compromise, I've compromised my seed. I've compromised the body of Christ. I'm a human being, but I will never ever enter a deal with the devil while I can see with my eyes. So I'm saying this very, very frankly, so that to closure, so you understand where we are. Now, it's very much important. If you understand it, then you will know what to stand for. Hence, when you heard Doc, when you were saying, this is not about political parties. This is about, it's a regime. If you would know, it's a regime. It's not, we don't have leadership no more. It's a regime. Once you let it be, it will grow stronger and stronger next year.
Yes.
No more Steve Gate. Yeah, no more Steve Gate. You go here. And many who are in the church who are not truthful, who are biased, who are connected with the United Nations, and who are just biased, and they cannot stand. I heard someone saying, we don't stand on anything. We don't criticize. We don't also support. I said, okay, people are lukewarm. You know why? Because when you're lukewarm, you look cool. You look like you are wise. You look cool. You look wise. You look like you are politically correct. And bishops are lukewarm. Bishops, and they'll be spewed out. They are lukewarm. So we can't. No. You were called to be leadership. You are not a higher league. You are not a higher league. You are a shepherd. You are called for leadership to lead the people. Now, if we say the people will lead themselves, what are we saying? They will make their personal decisions. No. We are the ones to break bread, to enlighten them so they can make decisions. If we can't speak the truth now, I'll tell you, salute to the Chief Justice who could talk about the 666, as a brother. He's not an apostle, it's not us, but he spoke about 666 as a brother, and it got into his office. You have seen how it's actually ended. They think it's not good. He doesn't have a good rapport. But I can tell you, in the heavens, Azania, you are blessed to have such kind of seeds. We are blessed to have such kind of men. you can fault a man in many ways, but look at what a man can offer on behalf of the kingdom. So in closure, I want to say to all of us, carry the cross. Take that cross. Take the cross. Pick it up. Pick it up. Take it. Take it. Yeah. Take it there, Mama, our intercessor. Take it there, Bishop. Take it there, Prophet. I know you love ANC. You know, I love the days of Monday. Let me tell you, don't waste time. Don't waste time. ANC will never be born again. And I'm going to put it frank. You are voting for abortion. You now, when they actually now put on those policies on what they believe and pass them over as bills in the parliament, and they are being first read and second read, third read, and they are assented by the president. You need to know that that is how things are done, and that's how acts are being changed and interchanged by people. So don't be worried. These things are done by people. They are tempered by people. So now you also can temper. As I always say, your prophetic must become a legislation. So that when you say all the children must pray before they eat, it must be law. When you say all the children in university must do this before that, in line with the Bible, it must be law. So yours are not law. Yours are just preachings. They're just prophecies. They don't affect the neighbor. They don't affect the nation. They don't affect the nations of the world. So it was said that when you receive power, you shall become witness until both Jerusalem, the church, Judea, the neighbor, Samaria, the nation, and the nations of the world, the outermost part of the world. So now I am calling out for you today. As a steward, let's carry as a fivefold ascension grace. Let's carry the message. You have heard Dr. Job speaking. You have heard myself speaking, and we are continuing until Sunday. Let us spread the gospel. This time we are voting Ecoforum. You see, there are times when people can take it for granted that we are serious about this kingdom and deathly. This time we are voting for Ecoforum. Hence, you see, even load shedding can't do a thing to us. Whether it goes down, I'll continue talking on darkness. We don't depend on anything. This time we are voting for Ecoforum. This time we are voting for President Langa. This time we are voting for all the candidates in all 500 plus wards in the country. This time we are voting for all candidates of this movement, of this kingdom building political movement in all three major metros, in Swani, in Johannesburg, in Cape Town. I tell you, the fire that is burning in Stellenbosch, it's so amazing. The fire burning in Stellenbosch, you know, Dr. Amadita and Dr. Welton, you've got your Bota is there for us. Marietta, and you've got, you've got them there, and they are standing. Why? Because they are standing for the kingdom. It's no longer about the color, it's about the kingdom of our Father. So this time, Stellenbosch is voting for the government of Ecoforum. It's voting for change. They are becoming the effect of the change we are talking about. Now, this time, Cape Town, I tell you now, Cape Town, Cry, and all of those areas, Kailisha, Nyang, Langa, Nyang, they are voting for what? For the government of Ecoforum. This time, not like this. I tell you now, they are voting for Ecoforum. They are voting for Confident Mashia Solomon. They are voting for Confident Mabusa. They are voting for all the confidence that are taking up the cross, and they want to put the red blood on the
ballot paper on the 1st of November. Come this time, Northwest, the Sirastio, Lehorutsi is voting for Ecoforum. This time, I tell you, is voting for Ecoforum. This time, I tell you, Limpopo, these are all the municipalities where we are registered now. And the leaders in Mutimola, in Limpopo, come 1 November, they are voting the government of Ecoforum. Limpopo, 1 November, they are voting the government of Ecoforum, and they are declaring moreover South Africa as God. And we are intelligence in what people need, especially in this hour. But now, far over this time, people are putting the PR, the mayoral candidacy, the president of the Economic Emancipation Forum, this time, and they are voting him for the candidate of Swadi mayoral. And now I am releasing it upon you. Torch, fire every fraternal, every church in the social media, talk about it in the morning, pray about it. It's happening right now. And in so they are voting for Professor Mkotakali is going to be voted on Monday. Mkotakali in Johannesburg will be of Johannesburg. Let's go out there and vote with our hearts and vote Ecoforum. It's coming through. Just as we are coming to closure, thank you so much for the ample time you've granted us. And we want to thank each and every one of you. And come on board. Thank you for your faith. Let's not forget that. Thank you much for your family. Moreover, for the love that you have brought on board. Your family that has given us. I want to thank the fivefold ascension graces on the platform. Thank you so much for coming on board. We'll be fighting with all the gadgets and it's the next 7 days. That load shedding or not, we understand what's going on. Load shedding suddenly because they know communication must be dealt with. So if you don't know how they are helping them, they understand what they're doing. So I'm standing here to say to all of you, may God bless you. And I'm going to say this and say for the last. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I want to say thank you.
Bye-bye.
And a blessed evening.
Bless you. Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. Blessed night.
Thank you so very much, Confidence, for coming through. We're looking forward for tomorrow evening. It's going to be lit. It's going to be on fire. We're fighting, you can see. We're fighting to make sure we are online. It's going to be on fire. Let's come on board. Let's call our friends and families. Send the message. Tomorrow we are talking one of the important things that must be spoken of in these elections that are coming, which is vaccine. And it's mandatory and all of those things. And we are thankful for your coming on board. Please do follow us. Go there and follow us. We are asking for the church to come with us and hold hands with us, partner with us, and see change and become. Thank you so much. For myself, BJ Langa, I want to thank you all and God bless you. And bye.